Hi, my name is Ed Garza, Mr. Pitchman, and of course, today we are constantly interviewing businesses that bring value to you. Today, we're talking to the Bulk Group out of Montgomery, Alabama, and I'm here talking to the founder and the brainchild behind this company, and that is Mr. Tommy Bob. Tommy, great to have you here, buddy.
Hey, Ed, good morning. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yes, yes. So, I was looking at your company and what you guys do, and really, there's no risk for a business to keep on listening and to learn what you do because you do nothing but help people save money on their bottom line, their operating costs, things that perhaps they don't know about because really there is no, what do you call it, a Carfax or a place where you could go to find out what the fair price of your vehicle you're purchasing, just to use it as an analogy, right? There's no place a business can go to find out what they pay for different expenditures. So that's where you come in, as I understand it. Is that correct?
Yes, that's absolutely right. There's really no way, unless you've had some training, to look at your utility bill and know if it's correct. It may look the same month after month, and so you think, oh, it's okay because it never spikes. But depending on what your business is, there are certain things on utility bills that maybe should be there that are not, maybe some discounts. Maybe there's some things on your bill that should not be there, but it's just really hard to know without some sort of third-party objective opinion from someone who does this for a living.
So, Tommy, tell me a little bit about how you got started with this company and what did you do prior to that? Let's get to know you a little bit. Tell me what led you on this path and this adventure to helping corporations and companies save money on their utilities and some of their operational expenses, sir.
Absolutely. I'll be glad to. My wife and I were actually working as the youth directors at our church in Montgomery, and our time there was coming to a close. We were kind of filling in for them in between people, and I knew I wanted to start my own business, but I didn't know what in the world I would do. I just knew I wanted that. And I met this guy in Birmingham who was doing then what I do now. And so I told him what I was looking, that I was looking to start something. He said, look, what I'm doing right now, it's a great business, but I'm moving and I'm the only one in Alabama doing this. So when I move, there won't be anybody. He said, you need to do this. So anyway, we talked about it a little bit more. He said, there's these guys who will give you some training. It's a week's worth of training. He said, it's only $10,000. And I said, whoa, I said, I'm youth director. I said, I don't have $10,000 right now.
Right.
And so anyway, he said, well, you know what? Let me call these guys. He said, they owe me a favor and let me just talk to them. So he called me back and he said, can you be in Baton Rouge tomorrow? I said, why? What's up? He said, well, I told you they owed me a favor, but also in their class, they had a last minute cancellation. He said, they don't like any empty seats. They said, you can come for free.
Wow.
So I told my wife, I said, I got to do this. I said, because sometimes, God may open a door, but sometimes he kicks it open. I said, I think this is pretty obvious. And if I go down there and it's not for me, I haven't lost anything. I'm not really committed financially. So I got the training and it seemed like a good fit. I enjoyed what they were offering. I enjoyed the idea of doing that. So anyway, that's how I got started, got that week of training. And when I finished my time as youth director, I got started.
That's fantastic. That's great. So you actually look at a lot of the operational expenses, utility bills, any other type of operational expenses that you look at for a business to help save them money?
Yes, absolutely. My original focus when I started this, which Ed has now been almost 28 years since I got started, was just utility bills, power, gas, water, any kind of telephone bill, and solid waste disposal or dumpster bills. And so I just did those areas, but as time has gone by, I put a few more arrows in my quiver, some other operating expenses we can look at. I never have a product that I'm selling, but I just have other services I can offer to help them reduce costs. But I always start with utilities and then maybe bring them along later. There are a lot of different areas you can save money on. It could be printing, shipping. I mean, it's just a long list of things. But I also, especially when it comes to nonprofits, I have other ideas that can help them as far as maybe in their operating efficiency. It could be even fundraising, Ed. A lot of different ideas that I have that I've learned from other people through the years that I like to share with my clients. So I always start with the utilities, but then if they're comfortable with that and we have a good relationship, I'll bring some other ideas to the table.
Fantastic. And there, as I understand, there's no risk at all. I mean,
Yes.
for a business, no cost up front. You act on a performance basis only. If you can save them money, that's where then you deliver the benefits to them, and that's how you generate revenue for your company, by saving them money. Correct?
Absolutely. There's no risk. I'd tell you, Ed, the two things I always tell my prospects. First of all, it just takes almost zero of your time, because all I need is a copy of your bills for 1 month. That's all. It could be the most recent bills, could be 3 months old, a year. It doesn't matter. Just I need that account number and a letter of authorization. So it takes very little of your time. But the other thing, this is the main thing, which you just mentioned, there's no risk. And that's true for two reasons. One, if I come through and spend hours looking at all your bills and I don't find anything, I don't charge anything. I only get paid out of money that I recover. But the other reason is people are not under any obligation to accept my recommendation. So I have that in my contract. I may come back with all these great money saving ideas, which basically is just correcting errors on the utility bill that you're being overcharged. And you can say, no, thank you. I don't want you to fix that. So the ball's always in the customer's court. Now, I have to say, in 28 years, no one has ever said no, but it's important for them to know they can say no, because they really don't know what I might come back with. And they might be a little uneasy at first, but once I come back and I show them, look, here's where you're being overcharged, here's how much money you'll save, they say, oh, okay, yeah, please fix that. Why would I want to keep overpaying?
Absolutely. And there's no pressure from a company, because obviously they have vendor relationships. So let's talk about that a little bit. Vendor relationships are important to a business. So as a business owner, I may have vendors that I know that I've been with for years, whether it's a utility provider or any other type of vendor. And there may be options, obviously, in today's world, but a lot of businesses may feel uncomfortable changing. So talk a little bit about that topic for a little bit.
Yes. And that's a good point, because something else I always stress is I'm not here to change your vendor. A lot of people in my industry, that's how they save money. They'll switch from company A to company B and they'll have lower rates. Well, I could do that. I mean, that's pretty easy to do. But my philosophy is, if you're with this particular vendor, that's who you want to be with. That's why you're there. If you want to change, you can change. You don't really need me for that. So I'm trying to get you the lowest possible price with your current vendor. And as far as the relationship goes, actually, there's two parts to that. In a lot of cases, and this is true in most states, with power, gas, and water, you don't have a choice. Some states are deregulated and you may have some options, but for the most part, you've got who you've got, and that's your provider. You don't have a choice. Where I live in Alabama, it all depends on where you live, but you're probably with Alabama Power and you're probably with Alabama Gas, and the city you live in provides the water, and you couldn't change vendors if you wanted to. But people think I have an adversarial relationship with these different vendors because I'm correcting errors, but I don't. Most of them are very cooperative. They want to get it right. So if I find a legitimate mistake, normally they're more than happy to fix it and refund the money that's been overpaid. So I've never had a situation where my client had their relationship with the vendor affected negatively. If anything, sometimes it's more of a positive thing because I've gotten some communication going. So, but even where there is competition, like with waste and telecom, it's never been a problem at all. They desperately want to keep clients because it is cheaper for them to keep an existing client than to go out and get a new client. So they're very cooperative.
That's fantastic. So no risk, and it doesn't cost them anything up front. They just need to get you a few bills. So
Right.
Can you do work in any state, in all 50 states, or?
Yes, and that's actually a goal of mine. I would like to do some work in every single state. I'm about halfway there, and but because of the internet, it doesn't matter where the business is located. I can get everything I need online, which was not the case when I started, Ed. When I started, boy, it was so much. I had to go into my client's office and dig out 36 months worth of bills. I had to actually go to the Public Service Commission of that state to check the tariffs, all sorts of different. But now with the internet, I can talk to my client like you and I are doing now, and I can check the utility information online. So yes, all 50 states. In fact, I think I'm about to start doing some work in Canada. So
Fantastic.
as long as they speak English, I think that's probably the only qualification.
That's awesome. That's great. Well, it's great for businesses to know about what you do. No doubt it's important for them. They can stick to what they do best, and you can do what you do best. And that's making sure that what they're paying is fair and equitable and at the right price. Keeping down utility bills and fixed expenses like that can be critical. They could add that money to their budget in other categories where they want to expand. So, Tommy, it was great to meet you. As always, great to meet new businesses. I appreciate you being on our show, and I'm sure we'll learn more about you. You and I have a lot in common in our careers, being in church groups and supporting the important things in life in our first career and then moving into business. So I think we have a lot in common. And again, it was a pleasure to get to know you, sir. Thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you, Ed. It was my pleasure. I really appreciate you having me.